It's playoff time again, and the Dodgers are entering the 2025 postseason as the defending world champs. The path towards repeating starts with the Cincinnati Reds in the wild card series. My name is Ryan Bershinger. She is Monse Bolaños. This is the Sick Podcast, the Dodger Zone. Let's get into that series today.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. The Dodger Zone.
Cortez delivers. Freeman hits the ball to right field. She is gone! Gibby, meet Freddie. Game 1 of the World Series.
The sickest LA Dodgers podcast.
Fernando Valenzuela has pitched a no-hitter. If you have a sombrero, throw it to the sky.
Start the party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, just Monse and I tonight. And to pull back the curtain a little bit, I don't think this is why Bo is not here. But I think Monse would have greater reason to not be here because of this reason. In our work guillotine league, which if you've never been in a guillotine fantasy football league, it is a ton of fun when the app works. This year the app does not work, so it's a little less fun, but still the format is wonderful. What it is that there's you start the season with 18 teams, and there's no individual team versus team matchup. Everybody just sets their lineup, and week by week, the lowest score of that week gets eliminated from the league. I'm bringing this up because Monse is on tilt right now. Her head is on the guillotine block, and if Troy Franklin manages to get 2 more catches in the next 10 minutes here, she will pass up Bo, and Bo will be eliminated. So we're going to be on Troy Franklin watch for this entire episode here. I'm sure that's what Bo is doing. He's very intently watching whether to see if Troy Franklin chops his head off.
Oh, come on, Troy Franklin. I'm not asking for much. Just a couple catches. You got 10 minutes. Just give me a couple catches. Come on, chop Bo. Don't chop me. But I do hope that the Dodgers chop the Reds.
There we go. Beautiful transition. So we've got the wild card series. The Dodgers are coming in as the 3 seed. So they've got a decisive 3-game series to kick off the postseason with the Cincinnati Reds. And I want to start off my thoughts on this series by putting this out there. Do not underestimate the Cincinnati Reds. I understand for the last couple of years they've not been very good, but during that time they've compiled a whole lot of elite young talent. Their starting rotation is very strong. They're going to be rolling out Hunter Green in game 1. Sherman Oaks legend Hunter Green, hopefully future Dodger Hunter Green. And in game 2, Zach Littell, who's a solid starter. And if it goes to game 3, Andrew Abbott, who's a very impressive young arm. We don't see Nick Lodolo being used as a starter in this series because they needed him out of the pen to ensure their spot in the postseason. They also needed a historic collapse from the New York Mets to ensure their spot in the postseason. And that happened because, as we've said many times on this podcast, remember, the New York Mets are not allowed to make the postseason. It is part of the bylaws. And last year was a fluke thing where people just weren't paying attention to the bylaws. This year, they're like, oh yeah, that's right. We can't have the Mets there. So that helps. The fact that the Reds really had to fight for that spot and then using Lodolo in key situations like that helps because he's an excellent young left-handed pitcher. But I would expect to see him out of the pen. So I think those are my overall thoughts on the Reds. Do not underestimate this team. This team has a better starting rotation than the Mets had. But their weakness, just like the Dodgers, comes in the bullpen.
Yeah, and maybe our bullpen is slightly weaker. I would say, like, if we looked at the roster, it's like that's the only thing that I would give the edge to on the Reds is their bullpen. But everything else we are stronger in. The Reds are the worst team when hitting against lefties. So, taking Blake Snell out there first is good because I'm with you. You cannot underestimate this team. I wanted to play the Reds over the Mets. I know the Mets were a dumpster fire in the last month. I get that, but they also have stars that can just turn it on.
Yes.
from one night to the next, right? I didn't want to face Juan Soto. I didn't want to face Pete Alonso. In fact, I didn't want to face Francisco Lindor defensively. You know what I'm saying? Like they have all of these stars, so I didn't want to face the Mets. Even though absolute dumpster fire, hilarious that Pete Alonso, literally 20 minutes after they got eliminated, probably still in the clubhouse, announced that he's opting out of the contract and entering free agency, probably still sitting in the clubhouse when this happened. That's hilarious. Love it. But the Reds are it's a team that has nothing to lose, and that's a dangerous team. They're coming in here like, we're just happy to be here. Thank you for letting us come into Dodger Stadium, come play in front of an awesome crowd, and who knows, maybe we can pull it off because they do have a good starting rotation, and this young talent, obviously led by Ellie De La Cruz, who had a much better start to the season than he did to the end of the season, but he's the type of guy that can turn it on when the lights are on. He likes that. And I, can't wait to see him run all the way to second base in 1.5 seconds because that's what he's going to do. If he gets any hits, he will be at second base in the blink of an eye. I can't wait to see that. But the Dodgers need to come out and honestly, crush their souls. I have nothing against the Reds.
Mm-hmm.
Love Ellie De La Cruz.
Yes.
But the Dodgers need to come out and crush their souls in game 1. You cannot let them think that they can do it. Mm-hmm. Because in a 3-game series, anything can happen. Mm-hmm. Logic is out the window. Yeah. If this is a 7-game series, Dodgers would win. It would just be like, are they going to win the first game? Maybe not. No, you have to crush them. Mm-hmm. On Tuesday. You have to.
Yes. I fully agree. I think that's a really good point because they're absolutely the kind of team that's going to come in with a full-blown underdog mentality, and if they're able to steal game 1, then that spirit is so high that it's dangerous.
Absolutely.
And I would see them, if they were to be able to eliminate the Dodgers, you're looking at a miracle run to the World Series. They are that kind of team. But the Dodgers, as you said, have the advantage across the board. Rolling out Blake Snell in game 1, as you mentioned, is a huge advantage. And then Yoshinobu Yamamoto in game 2. Realistically, that should be enough. They should be just done in 2 games. If it goes to 3, then we are looking at probably Shohei Ohtani starting game 3, which I find to be a really interesting choice. I love it. I'm all for it. Because Ohtani, these are the kind of moments he wants to pitch in.
Absolutely.
And as we saw in his last outing of the season, he is very much ready for the postseason. Looked absolutely dominant on the mound. What's interesting is then this allows us to either A, use Tyler Glasnow in relief, or B, not use him at all and be able to hold him back. And that way you ensure that you have somebody fully rested for that the division series. I fully feel comfortable with Glasnow in a game 1. It would be on the road because they're coming in as the 3 seed. I understand that he's had shaky moments over the last couple months, but overall, he's also had excellent outings. He got overworked in his outing in Seattle in his last start, but that was okay. I think being able to have him as a break glass in case of emergency pitcher is really important for the wild card series. And I would hope that they don't have to use him at all because it ensures you've got a strong, confident starter in game 1 of the division series. We're also looking at Emmett Sheehan being in the bullpen, which is going to be a huge help, and Roki Sasaki, which is super exciting. We talked about this last time, how we were all excited that this actually worked out and it's presented a great opportunity for Sasaki. He then proceeded to pitch 2 innings of relief over the last week where he looked amazing, blowing hitters away, struck out the side in his first appearance. It was incredible. And he may really actually be not even a secret weapon anymore. He is the weapon out of the pen. We could see, remember when Francisco Rodriguez first came up for the Angels? Of course, he wasn't ever going to be a starter. He was always going to be a reliever. But in their World Series run, they had this young flamethrower just come up out of nowhere, break through in the pen, and it was a complete sensation. Sasaki could have that sort of K-Rod effect on this bullpen because that's how electric his stuff is. And people are getting no reads on him because they have nothing to draw from this season. He barely pitched. So there's not a lot of tape. There's not a ton of scouting reports and a ton of information they can have on Sasaki, which is presenting a huge advantage for the Dodgers, where Sasaki looks to be in mid-season form out of nowhere, and nobody knows how to react to it. So I've got high expectations for Sasaki. I would feel confident if they use him in higher leverage situations, because I think they're going to, because as we've seen over the last month or two, our higher leverage arms have been really shaky. One thing that has worked, though, is suddenly over these last 5 games of the season, the pen flips a switch. We had that huge meltdown in the first game in Arizona earlier in the week, and things were looking really bleak. That was like everybody was saying, all right, there's no chance in hell this team is winning the World Series because this bullpen is so bad. Tanner Scott blew another save in that game, and prior to that, relievers were blowing leads. It was truly awful. Yeah. And then you get to that second game in Arizona where then they toss out Sasaki out of the pen, and you're like, oh my goodness,
he can
we
be
might have found something here. Yeah. And then Vesia and Enriquez had a meltdown there. So then it got tied. Clayton Kershaw came out of the pen, and he was fine out of the pen. He got bailed out by the defense a little bit, but he still was fine. And they ended up winning that game because Justin Wrobleski came out and just completely dominated in that 11th inning and was able to shut that game down. And since then, the bullpen has collectively flipped a switch. I think Blake Trinan gave up 1 run, and then outside of that, it's only guys like Andrew Haney and Landon Knack who gave up runs. Everyone else shut people down. So maybe, just maybe, and they're also facing the Diamondbacks, who are fighting for their lives. Yep. They had a chance to actually make the postseason still. They were playing as hard as they could. And the Mariners, a team that they could very well see in the World Series, maybe all of a sudden the bullpen has possibly gotten things together. Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Yeah. I agree with you. It happened. I think it was just like when you saw Roki Sasaki and when you heard that Kershaw could help out of the pen in the postseason, you kind of like had like a sigh of relief. And then you saw Roki out there and you were like, where did all this control come from? What have you been doing? We didn't know this was happening. So I totally agree. Maybe that was the moment that the Dodgers are like, okay, all right, we maybe do have some answers. And I think the X factor is going to be Roki Sasaki. Best case scenario, we do not use Tyler Glass now in this wild card series. Best case scenario, absolutely, I'm with you. We save him. I would trust him to start a game 1 on the road. He has been there. He's done it. I would be very happy with that. So hopefully we don't have to dip into using him for the bullpen. You know, the Reds, again, a good starting rotation. They're going to be tough. They have a good defense, but they struggle to score. And I don't see them having much success in scoring against a lefty in game 1. And then if Yamamoto just is a little bit of what we've seen the last couple of outings, they're gonna struggle to score. So like the Dodgers, I don't think are gonna have to do much offensively, but you're gonna, like, I think a couple of runs will be all they need to beat the Reds. Again, I want to crush their soul. Yeah. So I would love for them to win by a lot, but I don't think the Dodgers are gonna need a lot of runs just because the Reds tend to struggle to score. They had there was I don't know how many innings this season at one point where they just couldn't score. Yeah. But and their record wasn't terrible. It's just that they were playing teams that also couldn't score. So if the offense is just doing, the Dodgers offense is just doing the basic of what they can do, they should be able to win this game in 2 games. The Dodgers should be able to do that. This should not go to a game 3 with Ohtani.
And ideally, we're also able to push Ohtani's start into the division series. I think that would be huge as well. Exactly. Especially because Ohtani has not started a game on the mound in the postseason in his career. Yes, he has appeared in the World Baseball Classic, and that was a huge moment for him, but he's yet to actually start a postseason game on the mound. I'd prefer it to be like a game 2, sure, instead of a decisive 1 game. I'm not saying that he can't handle that moment. I fully believe that he can. I think it's just more advantageous for any pitcher to make their postseason pitching debut in a game that's not quite as important, which is what the case would be for Andrew Abbott, right? If we were to get to that game 3, obviously I'm certain Hunter Green, I don't think has ever pitched in the postseason before. Zach Littell, I don't think so. It's possible he did with the Rays, but I'm not sure. Regardless, I think one thing that the Dodgers need to do in game 1 as well is force Hunter Green to work right away. Get into that bullpen as soon as you can. Green is a powerful pitcher. When he's on the top of his game, he's unhittable. But he throws very hard. And if you can work counts and get that pitch count really high into like the 4th inning where he's at 80 something pitches already, that's very promising, because either they're going to overextend Green, which is not good for him, or you get into that bullpen earlier, especially in the first game of the series, where the bullpen is going to be much more hittable than the Reds starting pitching. I think it will be crucial for the Dodgers to, even if they're not scoring runs,
tire him out.
Yes.
Yeah, and I wonder what the approach is going to be, because, Ohtani doesn't tend to do that. Ohtani kind of has a green light, right? It's like you can swing whenever you want. We don't care. Freddie definitely likes to make the pitcher work. We know he likes to do that. Max Muncy likes to do that, but Max, I don't know if he's going to be okay and ready to go completely. But yeah, I'm with you. I hope that that's kind of like a message that they're pushing. It's like, make him work, get him off the mound sooner rather than later, because again, it's just like, this team is good. It's just kind of like, you're good, but you've done nothing for us to fear you. And that's a bad mentality going into it. That is a bad way to look at it, but it's true. But it's true. It's like, you're not supposed to be here. Like, congratulations. It's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a bad and scary team to have to face.
Yeah, exactly. It's a scary mindset that any team could easily fall into. That's why we said off the top, like, do not underestimate this Reds team, and I think the Dodgers need to take that very seriously. As you mentioned, Max Muncy, it appears that he has said that he's going to play, so it looks like he should be fine. The same goes for Will Smith. Both of them are trending towards actually being on the roster and being able to play. If they are not available, as we had talked about in the past, I think it's still the case. Even though Rushing had a couple good games in the last week, I would still rather see Ben Rortvedt on the roster over Dalton Rushing right now. If Will Smith, it's hard to say. It's only 3 games, so if Smith is not fully 100% and isn't going to play game 1, then it's hard to justify even having him on the roster.
I hear you.
It obviously, like, you need him, you want him. If it's just a 3-game series, it's hard to carry somebody on the roster who can't do anything just yet. But it sounds like that him and Muncy are both going to be fine, so it appears that we're not going to have to worry about that. But yeah, like we've said, I really like what we've seen from Ben Rortvedt in his time with the Dodgers. Just has given quality at bats and is calling really strong games behind the plate. The pitchers are clearly very comfortable working with him. Very hard-nosed, gritty catcher, and then that's something that, especially now in the postseason, it's easy for a young catcher to have deer in the headlights. Like, we don't know what Rushing would be like handling the postseason, especially since he's not been able to get as many reps at the major league level as he would like. I don't know if Rortvedt really has any postseason experience. He might. He's bounced around so much, it's very possible he's ended up in the postseason here and there for somebody. But regardless, I think I would definitely go with Rortvedt there. Overall, the lineup should produce. If they don't, I mean, listen, again, as we said, their starting pitching is good.
Yeah.
But it's going to come down to what happens then later in games, because you're going to want to see, with the way this bullpen has been, you're going to want to see the Dodgers jump out to large commanding leads early in the games, and that's going to be difficult with this Red starting rotation. There's kind of a weird elephant we have to address, and that's the fact that ever since Tanner Scott had that last blown save, he's actually pitched pretty well. So it's a weird thing, because this is what we're stuck in, this cycle with Tanner Scott right now, where he implodes on himself, and everyone's like, well, you can't have him in high leverage situations, but then other relievers are stinking up high leverage situations, and then Tanner does a couple of mid to low level situations and he pitches well in those, so then he's put back into a high leverage situation, and maybe he pitches fine the first time and then he implodes again, and then we're just stuck in this cycle. This is where I'm hoping the addition of Roki Sasaki in the pen makes the difference. Emmett Sheehan I would also like to see in some strong situations, and that's going to have that trickle down effect where suddenly now Tanner Scott can pitch in a situation where, I mean, it's the playoffs. Every inning is important, but hopefully instead he's in like the 6th inning with the 3-run lead instead of the 8th inning with a 1-run deficit or things like that. He has not pitched his way off of the postseason roster. It did feel like that for a while. And then suddenly what he did over the last week, it's like, okay, there's some guys where I don't know. It depends on what they look at in terms of matchups, in terms of the depth of the bullpen. Will Klein was used a lot over the last week, and then he was technically sent down to bring up Andrew Haney, so Andrew Haney could just eat some innings. But he's thrown the ball really well. His velocity is impressive. But I don't know if he even makes it at this point. It's the bullpen is weird because there's a lot of guys, and also a lot of guys who didn't perform super well, but you feel like you kind of have to have there. And it's a weird situation, but hopefully things are getting better.
Yeah, I don't see Heaney on the roster, if I'm being honest.
I think we're fine.
I don't see it. And I'm telling you, I wonder if like there is just a sigh of relief right now, because it does seem like we had options suddenly when it comes to the bullpen, when 10 days ago it did feel like we don't have options.
Yes.
We just have to keep sending the same guy out there. Right now, it doesn't feel like that. And I don't know what the approach is going to be or who's going to be the first one out. Like, part of me is just hoping that it's Roki Sasaki, the first one we see out.
Yeah.
And that it's so dominant that he does it quickly, where it's like maybe we see him in back-to-back games, pitch 1 inning in both games. You know what? It seems like that is the approach with Roki. Really, an inning, I feel like, is all they want to do. Maybe 2, but it seems like 1 inning is what they would like.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I think he's the first one. Again, just coming out, everybody being really tough from the get-go. Everybody coming out with a mentality of like, let's step on their throats.
Yeah.
Let's make it embarrassing, because that's how you have to treat this team, not with kid gloves.
Right. I think with like more so save situations or higher leverage situations, we'll probably see guys like Alex Vesia and Blake Trinan. Trinan's had an up and down season. The last week he's looked a little bit better at times. Vesia is probably the guy that most of the fan base has the most confidence in. But even then, he's also had a handful of blown saves and also had a handful of meltdowns. But obviously he exudes confidence on the mound, and it does make a difference. And when he's on, he's unhittable. But also sometimes he's sitting at 92 in the middle of the zone, and it's like this is you're walking a tightrope here. So we'll see. I know we keep talking about the bullpen, but it is the one glaring issue the Dodgers have.
It is.
And I'm hoping that these last 5 games here showed that they've gotten their heads together and been like, all right, let's cut the shit. We know how to pitch. We know how to do this. We did this last year. We can do this again.
Right.
I want to wrap up by talking about a guy who may be in the bullpen after this series if the Dodgers do in fact get there, and that's Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah.
When we last left off, we were all agreed, like the thought of Kershaw pitching out of the pen, we're like, no, he's not gonna do that. We shouldn't do that. And then like I think like an hour after we recorded, Clayton was already saying like, oh yeah, it was that night. It was that first game in Arizona where Tanner Scott lost that game. I mean, the bullpen as a whole lost that game, but Tanner Scott was, and deservedly so, had the spotlight on him. But it was found out that Clayton was saying like, hey, you can call on me out of the pen. He was going down to the bullpen. He was ready. And then the next night he actually did pitch out of the pen. I think my hesitation with using Kershaw in the postseason is in the bullpen in the postseason, is just due to the fact that one, we've seen Kershaw come out of the pen in the past before with mixed results. Sure. In 2017, he was fantastic out of the bullpen. In 2019, he pitched to Juan Soto and Anthony Rendon, and he gave up home runs to both of them. Yep. We've had moments like that, and I feel like at this point in Kershaw's career, given that even that instance was 6 years ago, it's hard to imagine we get the dominant one inning of Kershaw out of the pen at this stage in his career. I think because of the way the pen has been, I'm not against giving it a shot. But at the same time, I wish I could have confidence that he would be good in a relief role. But it is just so different for him. And he's been in the league for 18 years. Like this is, but at the same time, he knows this is it. So he may go out there and literally rip his arm off trying to pitch because he doesn't care anymore. He's got nothing left to really hold him back. So maybe it is the perfect opportunity for him to just give everything that he has left in the can to give him 1 or 2 innings of relief in a couple random playoff games. But I'm still hesitant because it is Clayton Kershaw, 18 years into his career, doing something that he's done very rarely throughout his career, and it's just such a different muscle between starting and relieving. That's where my hesitation comes in. It's just different, and he's old. I'm just gonna call it like it is. It's different, and he's old. But he showed old. He can. I guess he can.
Your approach to this is very logical. Like I understand the hesitation, but I don't know, man. Kershaw, these last couple of outings, I know it's different, but it just seems like he has figured out how to get them to swing and miss.
Yeah.
You know, and it just, even though he's not pitching fast, like it's incredible. But as Pedro Martinez said, when you lose your speed, you just have to put the ball where you want it, and you'll get the swing and miss. And I know when I see him the last couple of times, Ryan, I'm like, man, we're so lucky that this is his final year, because he had a nice final year.
Yes.
Call me crazy, but why throw Kershaw out there before Blake Trinan? Because right now, the upside to me is higher with Kershaw. With Blake Trinan, I am uncomfortable. When he comes out. I know he's done it before. I know he can do it. But right now, he's not making me feel comfortable. Kershaw's making me feel more comfortable. And it could be a little bit nostalgia, knowing that this is the end. Like, maybe I'm looking at it with rose-colored lenses because it is the end, while you're looking at it more logically, because you're right. Yes, he's old and it's different. But this old man has figured it out a way to make it work this season.
Yeah.
So he might figure out a way to make it work, knowing it's the end. Blow your arm out. He would blow his arm out to give us a save and advance us or give us the win. He would do that.
Yeah. Listen, I love that it's a question, because he has pitched so well where that it's a question.
Yes.
And that's the big thing. If he finished the season with like an ERA of like 4.5, this like wouldn't even be a question.
Yeah.
He finished what 11-2 or 11-3,
Yes!
11-2,
And two.
like a 3.2 ERA. His numbers this year were excellent. Like, remember when he was named an All-Star as a legacy award and people mocked it? No, he finished the season with an All-Star worthy season. Like, this
11-2, by the way.
yeah, and especially over the last few outings, he's looked phenomenal.
Really good.
He just shut down the Mariners in his final regular season start of his career. He was excellent. He struck out Cal Raleigh to end the 5th inning. And I was like, don't bring him back out. Let him end it that way. Yeah. But then he came back out and just struck out the next guy. And then he got to end it that way. And I'm like, okay, great. Thank God. Yeah. Unfortunately, that was buried within an NFL Sunday where a lot of things were going on. Also, like the Ryder Cup, even like there was a whole bunch going on in sports on Sunday. And with all the different playoff scenarios taking place in baseball, like the Mets and the Reds still fighting for that last spot, half of the American League still trying to figure out who was going to win their divisions. Like, there was a whole lot going on Sunday, and unfortunately we gave Kershaw his send-off in his final home start, but then his final start period was incredible. Like he's dominant, and that's for him to do that 18 years into his career is so special. It's so good.
And not to mention, Cal Raleigh was trying to hit a home run. He was trying to. So it wasn't like people were taking, like the Mariners were taking it easy. No. Maybe others were because they won the division. But Cal Raleigh was not.
Yes.
Like I don't think Julio Rodriguez was taking it easy in the series.
Right. Yeah.
But so that just went to show that it was like he struck him out knowing that Cal Raleigh was trying to probably get to, what is he at, 60?
He finished with 60. Yeah, he was trying to get 61. He would have tied Maris. That's huge.
Exactly.
That's huge.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And Kershaw, and I remember now, Eugenio Suarez was his final out. Who hit what 48 home runs this season? Yeah. Like, this is he wasn't facing the Mariners AAA team. He was facing their regular lineup, and he shut them down on the last game of the season. 18 years into his career doing that. It's remarkable. And so for this to even be a question is just awesome. And what is going to happen is that Dave is going to ask Kershaw to close one of these games strictly because Dave loves this shit. Yeah. Like he knows he falls for the narrative every time. Like he's going to be all for it. And ideally, the Dodgers are back in the World Series and they're up by a good amount in their final game to clinch it. And 100% Clayton Kershaw is pitching that inning. Even if the left arm is gone, he's going to tell him to pitch with the right. Like, you finish this off. So I think it's just, thank God it is a conversation. I am hesitant, but he has pitched so well that it's undeniable. And so at this point, again, coupled with the fact that so many guys in the bullpen have been struggling, like, do you have more confidence in Kershaw or Edgardo Enriquez? Nothing against Enriquez. He's had some good innings. He's also had some not. But that's where all of the bullpen is right now. So, yeah, hopefully we do get to see Clayton Kershaw pitch one more inning in the majors. And if he didn't, it's awesome that he got to end his career the way that he did. Because absolutely. Thank God, this is what we've been saying all year. Please, Clayton, just tell us when it's going to be time. Because now we don't have to think that, like, next year he's going to come back and then pitch in, like, 3 games, end with, like, an ERA of 5, going to be pulled in the 3rd inning of a game in July and be like, all right, that's it. You know what? Screw it. Like he gets to go out on such a high note. Yep. And knock on wood, apparently, hopefully it does, in fact, complete in some sort of high note, in some sort of crescendo, even if the Dodgers don't win the World Series, as long as Clayton's last outings in the playoffs, if he does pitch in the playoffs, go fine, then he's ending on such a great high note, and I hope to God that that's what happens. So
absolutely, even for the sake of the few Kershaw haters that are out there, For that sake, I hope so. But honestly, if he went out and had like a bad outing, it's not gonna, like, to me, he is ending his career on such a high note. Like, it's impossible to say that he was not, to say that he didn't come in and help the Dodgers succeed this year, when at the start of the season you were like, I don't know if Kershaw's going to be able to do much. He's got 27 injuries. Like, I don't even know if he can stand with that foot injury, with everything was wrong with him from all different parts of his body by the end of last season. So you weren't sure what possibly he could do this season. And he was a big part of the success. I don't know if we would have been in this. We barely made it in the wild card.
Yeah.
I don't know if we would have without Kershaw and what he did on the mound.
Oh yeah. So thank God. Great season from Clayton. The last thought that I have is just as a thought as a whole. If the Dodgers did not win the World Series last year, I would have been burning buildings down with the way the bullpen had performed over the last month. This is like the nice thing about winning a World Series, because if the Dodgers, especially if they had lost the World Series last year, or if they had been eliminated by the Padres last year, and then we're getting into October with the best rotation in baseball and an elite offense, but with a bullpen that just is terrible, we would have all been losing our minds. And so there are still some people who are losing their minds, and to them I say, okay, let's take a step back. We did just win. And so the Dodgers found a way last year with a weak starting rotation to win the World Series. They've got a weak bullpen going into this postseason, but they've got things going great in almost every other facet. They still have a very strong chance. So we'll see. The next time we record, it's going to be after this series, and either we're going to be talking about the next one or talking about what the hell happened and why they're not playing the next one. Final update. Just we teased it.
I already know. I saw. I got chopped.
Yeah, Troy Franklin did not get any catches after we brought it up. So
no, thanks, Bo Nix.
Yeah, and it's not like they stopped. They scored another touchdown. In fact, I think they threw for another touchdown. But
who to go to? Because I do have Cortland Sutton.
It was RJ Harvey, I think.
Damn it! Why did you give it to Troy Franklin?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fine. One less fantasy to worry about. I don't care.
There you go.
I'm not mad. It's fine.
And you see, that's the mentality. Okay, if the Dodgers get eliminated, hey, now you have one less thing to worry about. All right, that will be that, but that's the feeling for a later day, if that day comes. Ideally, again, the Dodgers just win again, and we get to live in a beautiful land of milk and honey. So, but we'll see. So we'll see what happens in this series. Monse's got a little bit more time to watch this series because she's got one less fantasy team. Damn
it, Bo. Damn it, Bo. God, I'm so annoyed.
I'm sure he'll be happy when he figures it out tomorrow afternoon.
I'm not mad. I'm not gonna have a tequila shot the minute I get off of this video here. No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
You deserve it.
I'm fine, Ryan. It's
good.
Fine.
I'm glad.
I don't care.
All right. Well, hopefully after our next episode, we're not going to have to be taking tequila shots. Or maybe we will. Maybe as a celebration. Let's see. So, this is a sick podcast, The Dodger Zone. We're going to be with you all throughout the postseason, however long that may be. And we'll be talking about looking back at this series in our next episode. And again, hopefully about a series after it. My name's Ryan Berchinger. She's Monse Bolaños. He is Bo Benson. We'll catch you all next time. Dodgers, get it done. Let's have some fun.
Crush them.
Do it. Take them down. Don't worry, I got to everyone. Thank you very much.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast, The Dodger Zone, on YouTube, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.